Can you imagine a fog so thick you can't see your own feet? A city blinded for days? A smog that actually killed thousands of people? I'm pretty sure that's a plot from a Stephen King book, but this really happened. Welcome to Hoodie History, where I dive into some of history's most impactful events. It's great to have you here. I'm Michael, your host, and today we're looking at a terrifying environmental disaster, the Great Smog of London in December 1952. To really understand what happened, we need to picture London back then. It's a few years after World War II, still rebuilding. Coal is king. It heats homes, powers factories, runs power stations. Especially in winter, Londoners relied heavily on burning coal. But often it was the cheap, low-quality stuff full of sulfur. Normally the smoke goes up and away, but not this time. Alright, let's set the scene. Early December 1952. A sharp cold snap hit London, way colder than usual for early December. Nighttime temperatures fell below freezing, hitting about -1 or 2 degrees Celsius, 28 to 30 Fahrenheit. Daytime temperatures weren't much better. So what does everyone do? They shovel more coal into their fires at home, and power stations burn more to keep the city running. This pumps tons of smoke and pollutants into the air. Now London is famous for its fog, but this was different. Add all that smoke to the fog and you get smog. And crucially, the weather decided to play a truly nasty trick. A high-pressure system called an anticyclone settled over the region. This meant the air was completely still, no wind. Even worse, a temperature inversion happened. This is where a layer of warmer air sits on top of the cold air near the ground, acting like a giant lid, trapping everything underneath. So this is definitely a series of unfortunate events stacked on top of each other, and the people of London were caught in the middle of it. Starting around December 5th, all that pollution, sulfur dioxide, smoke particles, and other nasty stuff being pumped out had nowhere to go. It just built up, trapped under that lid of warm air. The smog rolled in, thicker and thicker. Witnesses described it as a yellowy black soup, sometimes greasy, that smelled acrid, like rotten eggs or sulfur. Visibility plummeted. In some places, people couldn't see more than a foot or two in front of them. Imagine trying to walk down your own street and getting completely lost. People reported not being able to see the other side of the road, or even their own hands held out in front of them. Familiar landmarks just vanished in the gloom. Life in London basically ground to a halt for 5 days. Getting around was a nightmare. Cars were abandoned, buses stopped running, or had conductors walking slowly in front with flares or lamps, trying to guide them. Trains were delayed or cancelled. Even boats on the River Thames had to stop. Airports were shut down, and flights were grounded. Public services struggled. Ambulances had trouble reaching people, relying on guides to walk ahead. Some reports suggest crime might have increased slightly, as the thick smog provided cover. Indoor events weren't safe either. The smog seeped inside buildings, homes, cinemas, theatres. Performances had to be stopped because the audience couldn't see the stage, or the actors couldn't see the audience. But the most terrifying part was the impact on health. People immediately started having trouble breathing. Coughing fits were constant. The sulfur dioxide reacted with the water vapor in the fog to create droplets of sulfuric acid. People were essentially breathing diluted acid and thick, particle-filled air. Hospitals quickly filled up with patients suffering severe respiratory distress. The elderly, young children, and those with existing heart or lung problems were hit hardest. Tragically, even prize-winning cattle at the Smithfield show choked and died in their own pens. Try and picture living through this situation. People had no idea when the smog was going to lift, if it was going to lift. They could have been at home thinking, that's it, this is my life now. The entire city is practically blind. Traveling is almost impossible. Everything feels strangely quiet, yet punctuated by constant coughing. The air itself hurts, stinging your eyes, catching in your throat, and news is spreading about how dangerous it is, how many people are getting sick. It must have been an incredibly frightening and oppressive experience for everyone, as though you were trapped by something smothering the entire city and seeping into your home. Then, on December 9th, the weather finally changed. A wind picked up and mercifully blew the smog away, revealing the blue sky again. London could breathe, but the cost was staggering. Initially, officials didn't grasp the full scale of the deaths. But as figures came in, the horror became clear. While initial estimates were lower, it's now thought that around 4,000 people died directly as a result of the smog in those few days. And shockingly, later research suggests the total number of premature deaths linked to the smog's effects might be as high as 8,000 to 12,000 in the following weeks and months. Think about that. A weather event combined with pollution killing thousands in one of the world's biggest cities. The Great Smog was a massive wake-up call. It made people brutally aware of the deadly consequences of unchecked air pollution. Before this, smog was often seen as just a part of London life. Not anymore. Public outcry and government inquiries followed. This led directly to landmark legislation, the Clean Air Act of 1956. This act introduced measures like smoke control areas where only smokeless fuels could be burned, relocated power stations away from cities, and regulated emissions. It didn't fix everything overnight, but it was a huge step forward in environmental protection, not just for the UK, but as an example for the world. So the Great Smog of 1952 was this awful, deadly event born from a perfect storm of coal pollution and freak weather conditions. But it also forced a major change in thinking, ultimately leading to cleaner air and saving countless lives in the long run. A truly grim piece of history, but one with vital lessons. What do you think about this story? Does it remind you of any pollution issues today? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you found this look into London's killer smog interesting, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell for more explorations into history right here on Hoodie History. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep your curiosity burning bright and maybe take a moment to appreciate clean air.